That's right. Welcome to the side of the ring because it's time for some ringside rumors. 3 top rumors, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into it. WRKD Wrestling says there's already hope backstage within WWE to use Bad Bunny at SummerSlam. Everyone loved the street fight at Backlash. Backlash was incredible. The crowd was absolutely electric. Match of the night definitely has to go to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest just for all the crazy nonsense that happened. Shouts out to Carlito. I don't know if they're going to do anything with him at SummerSlam. I mean, I get the whole Bad Bunny being at Puerto Rico thing. You know, I completely understand that. But, I mean, because SummerSlam's in Detroit, so I mean, listen, I highly doubt it really matters, you know, where they go. If there's demand for Bad Bunny, you know what I mean, then, you know, it really doesn't matter where the next pay-per-view is going to be. So I guess the only thing really to do is to just wait and see if WWE actually does start planting the seeds for, like, Bad Bunny to be doing something, I guess, I don't know, with somebody else in the near future. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that turns out. Our next top rumor, there are teases from the likes of WRKD and Boozer Wrestling that the Way reunion could be starting up on Raw this week. So for those of you who don't know, the Way consisted of Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, and Austin Theory. Now, for those of you who've been paying attention, there seems to be one of these things not like the other, you know? So I'm going to be very, I was about to say confused. I'm going to be very interested to see how heel, cocky Austin Theory is going to deal with Indy Hartwell and Loomis and Johnny and all that sort of stuff, because when Austin Theory was in the Way, you know, he was a big doofusberry, you know what I'm saying? So he's obviously dropped that gimmick like a hot tamale, you know what I mean? So I don't necessarily know what they're going to be doing. I assume that I guess that everybody else is, I don't know, to be honest with you. I assume everybody else is going to be like, Austin, what the heck are you doing? And Austin's going to be like, I don't know, get away from me because I'm the champion and you guys are poopy heads, you know? Like, I don't know how they're going to be doing that, but I mean, considering the fact that they're planning a reunion, obviously means that they have like something in line. So again, we're just going to have to wait and see what it is. Our final top rumor, Cameron Grimes is expected to get a push now that he's on the main roster, with Triple H having hopes for him, says WRKD Wrestling. Shout out to WRKD, all right? Worked? Is it worked? Is that how I should be saying it? Instead of like AXE, should I be saying Axe? I don't know. Anyway, shout out to Cameron Grimes. I assume that he is going to be starting a program with Baron Corbin because, you know, that's like the first guy that he, you know, wrestling law says that the moment you start interacting with like a different person, that's the program that you're going into for the next, I don't know, foreseeable future. So, I mean, listen, Cameron Grimes is an incredible wrestler and he was with NXT during the 2.0 era, but then he kind of like, you know, quietly, I don't know what happened. I assume I don't know, because if I remember correctly, I didn't really hear anything about him getting injured, unless he did. I don't 100% know. If he did, please feel free to correct me in the comments. But yeah, he because when he was getting drafted, they only had B-roll of him in NXT 2.0, which I think was really funny. So, you know, it's glad to see him back. They have high hopes for him. At least Triple H has high hopes for him. So I don't necessarily know what that means because, you know, you got Gunther running around as the IC champion, and you got Austin Theory going into the tournament of all things as the United States champion. So maybe that's a good way to get the title off of him, and then he doesn't have to worry. I don't necessarily know. So it's really up in the air right now what they're going to be doing with Cameron Grimes. But listen, I've definitely got high hopes for him. Everybody else does. So we're just going to have to wait and see how he turns out. Moving over to our minor rumors, they say Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes is far from over, and we won't have to wait long to see what comes next there. So the match that they had at Backlash, I'm not going to lie, was a bit, okay, it was anticlimactic. It was anticlimactic. I'm not saying that there needed to be like a spot fest, but in terms of how Cody Rhodes was talking and just the way that Cody Rhodes was like, I'm gonna kill him, and then like, I don't know, the only like real spot that happened was Brock Lesnar, you know, dinged his forehead on the exposed turnbuckle, and then he started leaking, and that was about it. And then they did that weird spot that happened at WrestleMania, what was it, 37, I think, when Ronda Rousey's shoulders weren't actually on the mat, and they still counted 3 anyway. Like, it was just, I think that's what soured it for me, was that I wasn't sure whether or not that ending was supposed to happen. So it kind of like left me, you know, confused on how I was supposed to, like, you know, absorb that match. Like, was I supposed to be like, oh, Cody got a win, you know, Cody snuck a win out, you know what I mean? Or because I ultimately was looking at it like, was he supposed to do that? Because if you look, Brock like shoots up, to try and like, kick out, but it doesn't matter. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess we're just gonna, it sounds like, again, it's far from over. So, I mean, I guess that means that, tonight is probably going to be some sort of like, I don't know. I guess Cody's going to be like, hey, I beat him. And then Brock's going to come out of the ring and then he's going to start, ripping limbs off of him, I guess. We'll just have to see. I don't really know. Our next minor rumor on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that Nashville is getting WrestleMania in 2027 with the opening of the new stadium there. 2027. Okay, so wasn't it like 2025 or something? They were saying that like Minnesota was trying to get the next WrestleMania. I don't necessarily know. Shouts out to Tennessee, so there's literally nothing else that I can say, other than congratulations for them, and hopefully nothing like hopefully the ceiling doesn't fall through. I don't know. Our final minor rumor, PW Insider says Brian Kendrick worked as a producer alongside Jamie Noble for the Bad Bunny vs. Damian Priest match at Backlash. His first time doing so since a tryout at Survivor Series last year. So Brian Kendrick is obviously, proving himself to be a decent match producer. Considering the fact that there was just a lot of different, like, there was a lot of, like, I think it's called like a WCW finish where it's just like interference after interference after interference. And so you had like Savio Vega come out and then Bad Bunny, and then you had LWO come out, and now it's like a whole big thing and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like I said, that match was incredible. I really liked everything that they did. I thought that overall the match was it was wild. It was wild from like start to finish. Obviously, it took a little bit to get going, but once it actually, once the wheels actually started turning, that match was incredible. So listen, all right. Shouts out to Jamie Noble and Brian Kendrick for putting on a fantastic matchup. What do we talk about? Everybody loved the street fight and they want Bad Bunny to come back at SummerSlam. I mean, listen, okay, never say never. I don't necessarily know what that implies for Bad Bunny in the near future. Again, like I said, I understand the whole Puerto Rican thing, but this is Detroit, so like maybe they're going to be a little bit less likely to do it. I don't know, right? I mean, maybe they were like, oh, we're probably not going to do it, and then they saw the demand, shoot into the sky, so they're now maybe they're like sitting in the booth, you know what I'm saying, trying to think of like, how they're going to incorporate him into SummerSlam. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Lesnar and Rhodes is far from over. I feel like the match, I don't know. I really did not like the way that match ended. I don't like the way that I left that match asking a bunch of questions of like, was that supposed to happen? You know what I mean? Like, for a main event, like, you definitely could have put Bad Bunny and Damian Priest on for the main event. That 100% should have been swapped out, because the Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar match, the way that match like started out, the way that the overall that match was very bland. It was very bland. Not a lot happened. But if it's to go off of if it's to branch off of the story, then fine. I understand. Dave Meltzer says the Nashville's getting WrestleMania. Great. There are teasers from the WRKD and Boost of Wrestling. The way your reunion could be starting up on Raw. That's great. I don't know. Again, I don't necessarily know how Austin Theory is going to react to all of this. I don't know how the rest of the way is going to react to Austin Theory. So I guess that'll be the story going forward. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that turns out. Peter Moon says Brian Kendrick and Jamie Noble produced the Damian Priest match. I mean, listen, Brian Kendrick, I don't know. My only thing is like, you can have your thoughts about Brian Kendrick, and hopefully, I don't know, because isn't he like a crazy person and he says crazy person things? I mean, I guess if we can like disconnect from that for like a quick second, he puts on a decent match. He may be a crazy person, but I guess that equates to how crazy the match was. So that's good to know, I guess. And finally, Cameron Grimes is expected to get a push. That's good. I don't necessarily know what that push is going to entail. My thing is like, when you say push, it usually means that they're going to get a title shot or they're going to get a title at some point down the line. But I don't think that that's going to happen, considering like Austin's in the tournament and Gunther's, he's got like his streak going with the IC title. So I don't necessarily know what's going to happen with him. But only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see, folks. That was going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.